First of all, I picked this up as soon as I saw it because I thought $6.99 is a great deal.
It's a good deal. I mean, the main thing about that is I want it to get in as many hands as possible and do a good deal for my fans and that. So it's fun getting it out there. And you know, I don't think that I get so much exposure on radio with the heritage stuff and all my classic rock stuff, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But I mean, I think in this day and age, artists like myself and U2 and Springsteen, a lot of artists don't get as much airplay. It's more the pop guys and a lot of the remix artists and that, and the Drakes of the world and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's important that people know this record. Yeah, I mean, I made this record. It's a labor of love, and that's why it's a little while in between, is because, you know, the record has to mean something. It's got to be close to your heart, and you've got to be motivated to do it and want to put some good work out. And so I want as many people to hear it as possible.
Yeah.
So if we can put it on a bargain price, that's the main thing. We don't, you know, CD sales and downloads and that really don't. Yeah, they're not the same for any artist right now. I mean, they're just it's not the thing. The thing is playing live. Things have come full circle. So you want to be able to get this into a lot of people's hands so they can hear it and enjoy it and grow to love the songs and come to hear them live.
Yeah.
And it's fun. We're playing like 5, 6 of these songs, and people aren't getting restless. They're enjoying it. So.
Well, it's a strong album, actually. And I mean, 2006 was the last of original material with No Stranger, right?
Yeah.
Which was the same year actually Rascal Flatts did their thing with Highway.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know, what is it like? It must take so much out of you, actually, to not only keep producing great material that's kind of relevant and I think has soul still, right? But at the same time, how do you live a life and write a record? You know what I mean? Like, how do you separate that?
It's not the easiest thing. Everybody says, "Why, man, you're so lucky to be able to write," and I am very blessed to be able to do it. But it's a lot of work, and it's kind of a lot of soul searching. And I thought about my marriage. Kind of went through a bit of a rough patch, and I thought about it. And it was when I made the last record, and I realized this record was the same thing, because you get a little bit manic when you're out there when you're making these songs, and it's a bit like therapy. So you have to dredge down deep and dig down deep, and the songs mean a lot to me. So. You know, I don't take it lightly, and I give 150%. And it's kind of hard on the people around you, you know.
You're not very present, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get pretty obsessive about it. And so the last year in particular, we've really ratcheted it up. Me and Bill Bell, who co-produced it with me, my good buddy Billy. Yeah, and Billy did Jimmy Rankin's record as well, and it's worked with Jason Mraz. Yeah. And so Bill's a really good buddy, and we might go out later in the year and do an acoustic stint, because we work really well that way. And he was on
different arrangements.
Yeah, he was on Songs of a Circling Spirit, and it was pretty bright in here. That's why I got this. I'm not trying to be a star or anything. So Billy, we went out and we did this album that a lot of people love from mid-'90s called Songs of a Circling Spirit. So it was a lot of the classic stuff done live, recorded live. Billy played on that with me, and he met his wife back then, Tara McLean, who's an Easterner. She's from PEI, and Tara. Then they broke up a number of years later in mid 2000s, and I wrote Diamonds for Tara, and. She, for one reason or another, she didn't record the song. So Billy brought it up. Billy, being the mercenary that he is, he brought it up when we were making this record. He said, "You should do Diamonds." I said, "Buddy, I wrote that for your ex-wife, for crying out loud." He says, "Yeah, but I think you can do it." So I recorded it, and it worked out great. Thanks. Yeah, so we're playing that one. Jessica Mitchell's playing with us. She's a great singer. And she's out performing with us. She's playing concert toms and some little mandolin, but she sings with us, and she's going to be an artist to be reckoned with as well. She's a good little songwriter, but she sings Diamond with me.
Right.
So Diamonds.
Kenny Greer's out with you.
Kenny Greer,
you got
Jeff
Nick
Jones.
Gay from St. John.
Yeah. So we got a strong New Brunswick contingent. Kenny lives here as well.
I know. Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of a homecoming that way.
Other members of Red Rider, and who's on drums again?
Davide Dorenzo, I think, is the best drummer in Canada, aside from Gary Craig.
You had a couple guys out on the record, right?
Yeah, Gary Craig was the other one. So we kind of trade off depending on what they're doing. Davide plays with Holly Cole, David Wilcox, a bunch of different people. He's going out with Kevin Bright, with Sandra Palmer later in the year. do some stints in the States, and so yeah, we're having a lot of fun. It's a good band, but Nicky's really working out great. This kid plays great banjo, so he covers a lot of the banjo parts, and some of the ukulele, and some of the acoustic stuff, and some keyboard things, and so it's going to be.
I know he's pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I think he's going to have.
You interviewed him earlier.
Yeah, I did. I did him. Oh, he was just he was so elated. He's such a talented kid, though. So
yeah,
I mean, I guess big props to you and Kenny, right?
I'd like to get a plug in from my.
I will. World Vision.
My World Vision contingent
absolutely.
Here, and they're doing they're working so hard trying to get sponsors for the World Vision kids, and a lot of people don't realize. Life's a Highway was written after my first trip to Africa in 1989. I wrote it shortly after as a pep talk to myself, saying you can't change the world all by yourself. You got to keep your eye on the road ahead of you.
It's frustrating. Well, and
so
you had mentioned actually too, as far as changing the world and stuff, and you mentioned about Terry Fox in other interviews, and feeling like giving up, and you're talking about kind of like passing the torch, so to speak. You know, you bring up like Rosa Marks, and I guess today people like, I don't know, Clara Hughes, I guess would be another one.
She's a great one. She's a fighter. And that's about that part of the human condition where everything's a struggle. And everything is a struggle for freedom. And when I saw Terry, and I realized a lot of the songs on the record, it's a bit of a retrospective, and there's a lot of unfinished business, things that hadn't been said and hadn't been written about. And I realized the Terry Fox experience I hadn't written about, and I saw him the last day he ran. And
I know, amazing.
We hadn't slept for a couple of days. I'm sleeping in the back of a station wagon. I wake up one morning, the rain's coming down. I'm in the back of the station wagon, and Terry Fox runs by with one leg, and I was thinking of quitting the music business at that point. I thought, man, this is too tough. And I thought, how tough is what I'm doing? Look at this kid, giving it all. So I kind of connect the dots between that and the civil rights movement with Rosa Parks. And they're both, it's all a struggle for freedom in a sense, whether it's his struggle against the disease for himself and for other people mainly, or Rosa Parks, and so I kind of connect the two dots there, and that was a pretty powerful marker in my life. It kind of, who knows, I might not be standing here if I hadn't seen him.
No kidding.
So it was one of those things that gave me that little bit extra incentive to keep going. Yeah. And
I gotta say that Diamond song is probably one of the best songs I've heard in ages. Like seriously, because it's also accessible, and it's the single, right? It's the newest single, but also, I mean, there's like just lines in it, I mean, that are just absolute poetry. Like just when you talk about the old man standing on the corner and carrying a sack, carrying everything he owns, and looking into his eyes, right? And just seeing everyone
you've ever known.
What amazing stuff.
And that is, to me, about life. It's not so much what we acquire and what we spend money on, and it's the value of our experiences and the people we know and the people we love.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I find so great about this, is that all these years I figured you'd be tapped out. Like, who wouldn't be? Like, I don't know how you do it, right? To keep pouring out stuff of substance.
I mean, I just tried to. The thing about music for me is I've always tried to write songs that are timeless, and I've always tried to disregard trends and just let the music be honest and work towards that. So. To me, there is no time to it, And last time I was here, I was on stage with Springsteen, and he's a big influence on me. I love the man, and he got off stage and he's all soaking wet, and he hugs me and Kathy, my wife, and he's giggling like a 15-year-old who's just left the garage with his buddies, all soaking wet after jamming, and that's what you have to capture that, and that's what I try to do on stage. And he's like a big kid on stage. And as much as a professional as you are, if you ever lose that, if you ever lose that ability to recapture that kid in the garage or in the basement jamming with his buddy, you might as well quit. And so that's the charge. When I get on stage, it's timeless for me. I mean, the joints sometimes don't cooperate, but I feel really good up there. And Bruce is a big inspiration. When I got out of the coffee house, the same as he did. He made the comment, Llewyn Davis was me, only I got lucky I made it. And it was the same with me. I started out in coffee houses, and I started as a folk singer, and started playing college pubs and all that stuff, and that ended up kind of the endless summer, and I kept doing it. I was one of the lucky ones that there'd always be something that would come along, and I'd grab onto that a little bit, and I keep moving. I won't lie to you, I had exit strategies, because I wasn't going to be a victim of the music business if it didn't work out, but I was lucky, and slowly evolved, a following, and the songs all of a sudden became these markers for people's lives and little snapshots. So now it's a bit of a trust when you get on stage. You give up ownership of these songs in a lot of ways, and people, they mean a lot to in people's lives. So I try to take that part of it pretty seriously, because I know what it's like to me. Songs that I grew up with, and those snapshots of people's lives are very important to them, and that's what some of these songs are.
And you never forgot to be a fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You always have to keep that part of you alive, and there's what I call the non-negotiables, those songs that we can't leave out of the set, and Life's a Highway, The Lunatic Fringes, The White Hots, and Good Times, and some of those songs.
It'd be interesting if you did, though, right? What would happen to you after?
I wouldn't do that. I mean, some artists have done that in the past, where they feel confident in just leaving out the songs that that they're hits, and I just, to me, it's kind of a selfish thing. I would never do that. And plus I get such a charge out of people when they get excited. I mean, Life's a Highway is such a buzz.
Those opening chords and
it's just a charge, man. It's just such an adrenaline rush. Yeah.
Well, this is awesome. I'm glad you took time, and because I know you were late, and
it's my pleasure.
Yeah, it means a lot to us. So take it home. Seriously, take it home, Tom Cochrane.
Thanks for the support.
Jeff Liberty Show.